So the Portland, Oregon real estate market is changing. Before everybody wanted to move to that perfect suburb, and that's where you got incredible areas and spaces and deals. But now there's been a major shift. In this video, we're going to be discussing what we're seeing, the number one relocation team with dozens and dozens of buyers. Where are they focusing their attention on? These are things that only the locals know. So if you truly want to know where the best areas are to move and purchase a home, relocate to in the Portland metro, that's what we're talking about today. And we're getting after it right now. What's up, everybody? My name is Jackson Wilkie.
It's your girl, Listy.
That's right. And we are the Real Agent Now group right here in the Portland metro. If this is your first time to this channel, you want to learn everything about what it's like to work, eat, sleep, live, play, and all those incredible areas to live. Make sure you tap that subscribe button and you click the bell so you're notified every time we do a new video. And we honestly get so many phone calls, emails, texts every single day, and we absolutely love it. So thinking about moving anywhere in the Portland metro, either Portland or Vancouver, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. Days, nights, weekends, we got your back when moving to the Portland metro. All right, Listy. We've helped a lot of clients over the past few years, and we are the number one relocation team. And it just seems like this shift, something happened. And there is some hot areas in the Portland metro. And as the Lake Oswego's and the Beavertons and all these major west, suburbs, and even out east, the Happy Valleys, there's still a lot of people looking there. There's been some gravitational pull inward. So what I want to do is talk about where some of our clients are looking, and then what me and your job is talk about those areas. Where are they at? What can you do? So first and foremost, I kind of spoiled it. It's moving inward. What are some of the areas that people are looking at, and why?
Yeah, for sure. So the inner city of Portland, definitely, I am starting to see some prices drop compared to the outskirts in the suburbs. So a lot of our clients, a lot of people are moving to Portland, in Southwest Washington because of that Portlandia vibe. They love that we're foodies. They love our quirky, fun, keep Portland weird
Yep.
vibe. It's walkable. They love that urban, walkability about what we're all about here. And so you're kind of seeing people reaching out still, but they're reaching out because they're seeing some prices, not they're not depreciating. I'm
Yep.
not saying that, but you are seeing prices dropped. And normally when you're seeing them drop, it's because they were overpriced.
Yep.
But it's kind of nice to see them seating a little bit, and you are seeing some of those prices in the inner city, move down, and so it's piquing interest. What I love is that people that wanted to buy, they might have held off because of interest rates or things happening, or overpriced homes, but with where interest rates are at, people are kind of starting to change, like, hey, they're thinking, and they're like, maybe I want to start doing real estate as a passive kind of income, and let's look at this as a different purchase. They're looking and reaching out to us instead of waiting to purchase in a year or waiting to see where interest rates go. They might be looking at a home that might be a little less, like maybe their original budget was 600, but now they're looking at 450 to 500. They're going to move into it, live there, for a little while, and then keep it as a rental and turn it, and then, move into something, a little bigger, or, in a different area. But then they're going to keep that house as passive income for rental. So we see a lot of our buyers doing that right now and taking advantage of some of these prices dropping in the inner city.
Right.
And I have to say, the hottest spot is North Portland, because it is still like the last like real affordable, quadrant, in Portland. And it's such a great area for rentals with University of Portland right there. You've got, Adidas World Headquarters right there. So you have a lot of people looking to rent in that area, and they're fantastic renters. So yeah.
So the other inner city parts, are some of the most notorious areas of the Portland metro. They're super fun. It's actually areas that, my family and I, we would love to go to and just walk around and hang out. So I get the vibe there. But let's talk about some of those inner city areas, where they're at, and the names of them, so that these people can get a reference point.
Absolutely. Everybody's in love with Hawthorne, Belmont.
Yep.
That area is great. It's just streets lined with, food and shops and boutiques and entertainment and just the vibe. It's like so electric. It's awesome. I mean, you just can't go down the street without smiling, and there's always something going on.
Yeah.
That is one of our hottest pockets in Portland, and that is in Southeast Portland.
So when you're in that area too, the cool thing is, I mean, there's major arterial roads north and south, like Cesar Chavez and stuff. There's a lot of transportation, but this is where you're going to see not only just young professionals, you'll see young families. I go there all the time, with the kiddos, with the white, and you will see dads rolling down the street with the bike. They got the helmet. There's like two kids on a woody basket in the back. They got their book bags on. There's
Mhm.
certain neighborhoods where there's, top school districts around that area. I know Lads Edition's an area where you're going to see a lot of that going on. There's great schools there, but you have, yeah, Belmont, you got Hawthorne, you got Burnside, you have the most notorious roads, James Beard winning restaurants, funky, eclectic shops and restaurants.
Right?
There's really just endless things to do. And if you head straight east out from there, one of my favorite areas to go hiking, and one of those neighborhoods, it's more of like the mid century moderns. What neighborhood's that? What mountain out there?
Mount Tabor.
Yep.
Everybody loves a little Mount Tabor. I mean, that park just in itself is amazing. And it's really growing out there as well.
Yep.
We are seeing a lot of old homes come down and a lot of new construction go up. And I'm not talking about like communities, I'm talking about like, a lot split to
Individual.
two and putting up some skinny tall. So you're seeing a lot of development in that area. But I love that they're keeping like the historic aesthetically charm to the area. So you still are getting those old bungalows and craftsmans and stuff with the big porches. They're trying to make sure it fits in and not doing, too modern that you get into some other areas.
Yep.
But that's a hot area. I love it. And it's super close. I mean, you're 10 minutes down the street from Hawthorne Belmont. I mean, they all connect. And that's the one thing that people don't realize when we have these conversations with them. They might be calling from California and they're like, gosh, it takes me an hour to get to work. And I'm like, an hour? Like, that's just crazy. I mean, if it takes you longer than 20, 25 minutes to get somewhere, like, that's just
Yep.
terrible here. That's just horrible traffic. I mean, you can get from like Southeast Portland and Northeast Portland, going down Cesar Chavez, in 20 minutes, you're from one side of the city to the other.
Yep.
It's very quick, to get around. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah, I would say one of the major issues would be if you wanted that Portlandia style and you were Mount Tabor but worked out at Nike or Intel getting to the west side, you're going to be stretching 45 plus minutes.
Yes.
Just any kind of traffic can happen, but that's typically not what any of our clients are doing. They're generally finding an area that fits their lifestyle.
Mhm.
And then we're helping with that. One thing I want to touch on, you mentioned it was like the price drops, right? So what happens, and I'll talk about a little bit, and obviously you're seeing it and can explain it more, but we're having carryover from what happened about there, or what ended about 6 months ago. For 2 years, you could list a house and just put any price and it was going to get a bunch of offers. And so there's a lot of agents who got into the market during that time and they're using those outdated methods. So now it's kind of going back to pre-COVID style real estate where you really have to price that home where it is valued at, because there's smart agents like Listy out there who know the true value of it. So looking at price reductions is usually an overpriced house. It's not the depreciation going down. We still have a lot of people moving, relocating here. So one, touch on that. And then two, we have two different styles of buyers. Obviously, people moving, relocating here in primary. And secondly, we're getting a lot of investors. So that means that people are taking advantage of this market and no competition. So one, you can touch on that with some stories of like, hey, if it's priced right, these houses I'm getting clients in. Two, we'll get into, some of the investment stuff we're seeing.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely, I think it's important, even representing buyers, that I'm looking at, comps that are happening within, the last 2 months, 3 months, because even if you go 4, 5, 6 months out, it was a different market, 6 months ago. And that's what's so funny is people listing these houses, they're looking at what happened a year ago and they're overpriced. You
Hmm.
need to be looking at what that house was listed for, what it was sold for, and you can kind of figure out where the market was at. But yeah, if you're seeing home prices drop because it's overpriced for the
Yep.
most part. There are some, there are sellers, it's not the best time to sell in the fall and in the winter here because of rain and, dark and gloomy and holidays and kids are in school and settle. So you do have some sellers that are very, very motivated
Yep.
that are also dropping the price to get their house sold. People are a little nervous because of interest rates. I think it's a perfect opportunity to still purchase. It's still a great time, and you're finding some really great deals and incentives from sellers. So it's important to, I think, look at those as well.
Yeah, and
So
the
you're
scariest part too is the opposite side of that, where if it's a bad time for sellers right now, that means it's advantageous for buyers. But if you don't have proper representation or agents who understand the market, you may be putting in full price or overpriced offers on houses you don't need to. You may not be getting incentives. You may not be getting inspections done because that's what they learned a year ago. So, talk about what you're really doing to represent a buyer right now. And it's probably more important now than it ever has been.
Well, I'm really trying to make sure I understand what my buyer's needs are. We have a client that's getting ready to move up from Las Vegas, and their rental, they have their apartment, their first time home buyers, their rental is up at the end of December. So they're really nervous. They didn't want to have to be paying a mortgage and an apartment. Like that's huge to them.
Hmm.
First time home buyers, they've got 3% down. They could use a little extra help, on their closing costs, but just really figuring out, dialing in what are their needs, not
Yep.
only financially, but in a home and in a neighborhood, and getting, really down into that. But I'm having those candid conversations with our sellers, agents as well, to talk about like, hey, what are your sellers' needs, and really representing and making a good choice. Anyways, long story short, with that particular client, we were able to get a December 1st closing date for them. So not only did we were able to extend out the closing date, which normally it's a 30-day typical closing date here in Portland, but it was nice to be able to extend that out so that way they pay their last mortgage payment in December. They close, or I'm sorry, their last rental payment
Rental.
will be in December. They close in December. Their first payment for their new house isn't until February 1.
Yep.
So it's really worked out financially for them, and it put them in a really good situation. But I just making sure you have an agent working for you that understands, not only your financial needs and what's important, but getting them into the right house, the right neighborhood, and taking those times and having those conversations with the other agents.
Exactly. So that's what we do, and we love it. Relocation is the name of our game. We are the #1 relocation team, and we got our team lead, Listy, who will head up the calls. So the only way we can help you is you got to reach out to us. So you got to give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. Days, nights, weekends, we will schedule Zoom calls with you, get to know you personally and your goals. And that's what we love to do. So make sure you give us a call. All our contact information is down below, and it's on the screen right now. And until the next video, guys, we'll catch you later.